morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show. It is Michelle Bryant here, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. It's getting a little thick out on these streets. School must be getting ready to go back in. You all you teachers and educators and, school personnel that have gone back into the building, early before the kids get there, y'all messing up my leave time from the house. I just can't pull out on the street out of my driveway anymore.
What happened going back on the 7th?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
The 4th.
I love the teachers and the educators, all the people. But y'all mess with my morning routine. Now I got to start leaving the house 15, 20 minutes earlier than I typically have been leaving all summer because y'all had a nerve to go back to work. So I'm just saying, we get inconvenienced by other people. But anyway, good morning. Let me say what's happening to my family in the studio. What's going on, Clark Kent? Hey, you sound like you went to the doctor yesterday.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Did they spray you with Lysol too?
my iron was real low.
Your iron was low.
Yeah, and
really
a little dehydrated. So they did
dehydrated.
So they wasn't drinking enough water.
Come on, Clark.
I know. Being hard headed, man.
See, Clark, though, you got to keep your iron.
Your iron. Wait. That's not what he does not need to do that. and this is why we want to thank the teachers for going back into the classroom.
You got to put your iron on the higher shelf.
The iron. Country show up again. So did he give you some or she give you some?
They gave you some there, but I got to pick it up today. So
man. Stay on top of that.
Oh yeah.
No big country. It's not the ironing board or the ironing. It's just Keith be slick. Keith be like, what'd you say?
I'm just sliding on up in there.
Keith be all dirty trying to take shots at your vocabulary, your pronounce the way I can't even get the word out. The way you pronounce words. Keith be like, say that again.
What did you say?
Like he's so dirty. No, ironing. I heard it. It was 2 N's on the end. Good morning, Mr. Rod out Greenfield in the building. How you doing this morning? Well, you better be glad you cute. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Hey, so no.
Be glad you got a cute little face.
I tried to tell him, man. That, I've done dodo down here, man. I tried to tell him. I don't believe it.
Didn't work, huh? What?
I don't need to catch up, but I watched that.
Because you did it.
I watched that 72 hours, man.
What is 72 hours?
With Cat Williams and
So, brother, though, you couldn't wait until after she said hi to me?
No, because you know why? No, because he did a sing and then acting like Ricardo.
With Kevin Hart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you just gotta see that when you start talking like that. That's why.
Oh, you thought it? See,
no.
You conjured
Let
up
me get mine
a
out,
memory. But you ain't about to talk about nothing.
I was.
What? Go ahead. You got the floor.
You know, Shell.
Nothing.
It's beautiful outside. Now, dew points is at 55.
Dew point.
Yeah.
What is dew point, Jermaine? What is dew point?
It's the moisture in the air. It's the humidity in the air. It's whether it's high or low.
In Blackpool term,
meteorologist Mano Candela.
No.
Dew point is 55. And that's what, keep the rain.
Dew point is the temperature.
No.
It's the temperature to which air must be cool to become fully saturated with water vapor.
Right. Well,
so it's the what now?
It's the
And
vacuum.
black-
It's the
What is on? Put the camera on him. Put the camera on here.
I'm sorry.
What is
it's
it?
that stuff that's in the air. Like the dew in the morning. It's like moisture.
I'm sorry.
Dew is moisture.
See, boy got over here.
I'm trying to tell you. Dew is moisture. It's moisture
Got
in
me
the air.
all confused.
You know
over
what?
Hey, man, I did graduate with 3.5.
It's the temperature.
It's the moisture in the air. You want to pull it up? It's the dew. The dew is
It's the dew.
moisture.
Oh, get out of here, man.
There's a gospel song
We call.
that actually goes like the dew in the morning,
Thank you.
gently rest upon my heart.
Okay.
So the dew in the morning is the moisture that's in the air.
You know what? To that, I'm just going to say, where's the set? Where is it at?
Back to you, Bob.
Here's what comes off the
Hang on. Because, even though this is super old, since you want to talk about church songs.
That's one thing I can do.
You don't have to ask me why.
Why?
You don't have to ask me if I see.
Oh my God.
For I have seen the light.
The lights.
I know you don't know why.
Oh my God.
I see a little baby cry.
A baby cry.
What? And I know you don't believe me.
I got to keep made that up while we Yeah, that cat made that up while he was up there.
Oh my God. And he's singing, he got on this white, like, used to be Frankie Beverly and Mary's outfit with some Jordans. And the faces of the people in the congregation. There's people sitting there like, there's people sitting on the pews like, what the hell is going on? This man said, boom, shaka, like, God is good. Somebody said, Kurt Franklin remade that. I was like, y'all silly, man. It's an old video, but every time I see it, and, silly Keisha sent it to me yesterday, we sent it to my brother. My brother cracking up like, man, if y'all don't get off this brother trying to do the Lord's work out here.
Man, I think dude might be from here, though.
I hope
Either
not.
that or I
hope
saw
not.
somebody that looked like.
But literally this morning when I got in the truck, when I got in the Jeep, it was on my way here. When I get ready to get out onto the main 107th, it'd always be busy. Mm-hmm. And so it was no cars, and I was able to just get out there. And I said, boom, shakalaka, like a God is good. Somebody just said that's my jam. That was a hit. Somebody else said I need that in my life. Oh man. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot. So did we finish with you, Jermaine? Because was your crying over? Jesus Christ.
Michelle,
was it
you
over?
Wear your hat like that. You just do something to my spirit.
Which means that my hair is not combed. That's what it means.
Back to you, Bob.
All right. So let me take a second before I get into any of the stories today to just do this public service announcement. So, we talked a little bit about the chaos that was out at State Fair. And there have been all kinds of videos on social media, young people posting, But before the drama jumped off, on this Facebook page, and it is capital V, E, capital C, E, capital T, V, E. So VCTV, capital VECEETVEE. There are young men who you can clearly see their faces. These are somebody's children in this city. You can clearly look. And they are young brothers. Look like they, 15, 16, maybe 18, 19 years old, however old they are. And they're encouraging people to come to State Fair to fight. And on the video, they're saying stuff like, if you got beef with somebody, come down here, and jump them. If you see somebody with a chain on that you like, snatch it off their neck. They ain't gonna do nothing. Jump them. If you see somebody wearing Cartier glasses, snatch them off their face, take them from them. They're not gonna do nothing. Jump them. And it's 5 or 6 different boys that rotate out, getting in front of the little camera, inviting people to come and fight. Now, I've seen other folks who were innocently posting on Facebook when they got to a situation and was like, y'all, this is going on right now. Look what's happening. And those people have been charged at times by the district attorney's office with inciting a riot. We know that's how they tried to hem up Von Mays, when he was simply recording what was going on, and they tried to basically say he was inciting a riot and encouraging people to come and be destructive. In this case, you can see these little boys' faces good as day. Clear. No, and they told him, and I didn't know what it was. I had to ask Clark, because they said, make sure you make, what did they say, Clark? Bring a shiesty?
Yeah,
Bring a shiesty mask.
So yeah, that's that. Yeah. And so they just said shiesty. And then I thought about it later, like poo shiesty. I heard you say that before. But, bring a mask so you can't be seen. But they're so dumb
They're telling them
that as they are encouraging you to come fight, they have nothing hiding their faces. So I encourage the Milwaukee Police Department, if you are trying to get to the bottom of who helped to incite, maybe, set some of this off, go to the Facebook page, VECEETVEE, and see if we can put together, some IDs on who these young people are who thought that it would be okay to encourage people to come down and, just create havoc at State Fair. Like you don't have nothing else to do with your sad, pathetic little life. Nobody is showing you anything in this community that you understand life is way better when you're doing the right things, and the opportunities you can create for yourself that don't involve you going to jail, don't involve nobody whooping you, nobody coming for you. I mean, just, it's so incredibly sad that these young people don't understand all that's waiting for them if you just pick a different track. All that's waiting for you. You ain't got to take nobody Cartier glasses. You can buy your own if you're willing to do the work. You don't have to take nobody's chain. I'm like, people still steal chains. Yeah. You don't have to do none of that, though. If you're willing to go to work, if you're willing to put in the time, if you're willing to develop a skill, to get a hustle. And you ain't got to worry about nobody jumping you and trying to cut you down. You want to say something, Jay?
Yeah, and it's just sad because when you watch the video, you see them on there laughing and enjoying doing stupid stuff. Like they laughing like, hey, the top 5 things to do when you come to State Fair. Fight, snatch your change, snatch the glasses. They ain't gonna do nothing. Snatching and run. And when you look at the video, you see a lot of people running, swinging off on people. They hitting people. They running, over to the next fight and swinging, hitting each other. It's really sad, Shell, because I'm sure. Because they've been trying to curb this for years, because they do this every year at State Fair. And I'm sure next year you will have the officials doing something much different than how they've been operating. Because
I mean, but you know, like you said, though, they've been doing this
Yeah.
for a number of years, and people keep trying to figure out how to respond to it without being, you know, intrusive on everybody else's good time, without making it feel like a police state, you know, making it feel uncomfortable for people to be there. But to the extent that we need to handle business at home and in the community and in house and talking to, you know, our folks about, you know, when you step out of these streets, you know, out this house and into these streets, how you behaving and you acting. But I'm just saying, like, they're so sad and pathetic that you think going on social media and posting this is, you know, cool. It makes you, you know, about it, whatever whatever the slang, the vernacular you want to use to describe it, it really is pathetic. And the police really do have the ability just to scroll through and figure out who all y'all are, then go back and look at the videos of folks fighting and swinging on folks and be able to promptly come and arrest your behind. And people in the neighborhood
and they need to do
will be doing this.
And they need to do that.
They will be doing this. So dumb. It just it's ridiculous. So I just wanted to call attention to that. I encourage people to go look at the website. Go look at the Facebook page, see if you recognize any of these young brothers, call they folks, let them know, you know, this your boy out here, right? Wow. You know, this that boy that live around the corner. Somebody know these kids or young men. They know them. And I encourage you to get at them. And turn their behind in, quite frankly. Somebody just said, the thing that really troubled me watching that video was the images of young girls running to engage in the mayhem. Yeah. Girls been buck wild. Yeah, they don't get no pass no more. Yeah. These little girls is just as wild as these boys. In fact, they can be even more ruthless. You know, going back to when they was jumping back up on girls' cars back in the day with baseball bats, breaking out windows, just wild. But see this, when everybody talk about, it's the video games, it's the music, put Real Housewives of Atlanta in there too, put all that garbage in there too, that, you know, as my friend says, it's mindless entertainment, but somebody watching it and walking away with a very different image and ideology about how we behave as young Black women in communities.
What's the site again?
The site is VE, capital VE, capital CEE, capital T, capital VEE, and that's on Facebook. And I'm telling you right now, don't get mad because you put it on there. Yeah. You put it out there for the world to see. So I see it. Somebody shared it with me. I see it, and I'm telling other people to go look at it. Yeah, Jay. I mean, yes, Jay.
No, but you know, the sad part about this whole thing, Shell, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. Some of them kids that was out there doing what they do see their parents acting that way.
Oh, for sure.
See their parents doing that. And
for sure.
When you see mama and daddy acting a fool, and mama and daddy give you the okay to clown sometimes, like, because I see it. You see people like, man, beat her A or whoop his A. And it's the mama and daddy standing out there validating it. So once you get validation from your parents, they gonna take that validation from home to the streets.
Yeah, until somebody stop them.
Either the police or somebody kill them.
Yep, somebody gonna put you down or they gonna block you up. But until somebody stop them, you know, you run into these things. And I heard Keith, and I'm an advocate. I say it myself that, you know, we have to think about how we talk about situations in our community so that folks don't take our sentiments and then turn them against us, to over police, you know, to bring in your National Guard to do all of that stuff. And I'm just talking about managing behavior. Yeah. This is not, I need a regime to come in. I'm talking about managing behavior. I'm talking about being responsible. And like I said, for me, just the saddest part is that these young people don't understand how amazing life really is. All the cool, fly things there are to do. And even if you come from a low income, a poverty situation, again, if you're willing to put in that work, man, you get to be exposed to so much stuff. The things that you can do, the places that you can travel, you know, the opportunities that you get to access just by doing the work, being in the right place, putting yourself out there. The things that my son got to do that were free. You know, and the things that I paid money for, which is the equivalent of what these cats are spending on these jeans that they can't seem to figure out how to pull up over their behind, and you know, this all this other crap they're paying for. My son going to Italy while you worried about what you're putting on your feet. $400 pair of jeans. Yeah, you know, you're getting opportunities. You know, just crazy, just absolutely crazy. So I think that's the saddest part for me, is that they just have no idea what life really can be when you decide, man, I'm gonna go at this the right way, and I'm gonna do and because you can't get around the work. Right. And see, people want stuff easy, they want it quick. But I'm like, it's nothing easy about being a drug dealer. It's so nothing easy about being out here on this nonsense in these streets, always looking over your shoulder. You know, whether you're looking for somebody to take you out in the streets, you're looking for the police to finally catch up with you, whatever it is, it's just nothing easy about it. And as adults, we gotta set examples, and we gotta be willing to have our kids not like us. Yeah. Because, you know, how many parents have heard or used to say to their kids, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend. And you know, this for you down the road. This know today is so you understand how to handle it tomorrow. I can't say that stuff enough, because it's so frustrating. Because we so much better. You know, we got so much going on, and they gonna miss it all. I looked at that story about the 28-year-old who now they've got in custody for shooting and killing the two young brothers in the music studio. This man is only 28 years old. Bro, it's a wrap. It's over. And every day you sit in that cell, you're going to reflect back on, was that the only way to resolve whatever was going on? Was it worth it? Clark just said, was it worth it? And then everybody want to go to jail, find Jesus, or, you know, Islam, you know, and then now you an educated brother behind bars. I ain't trying to hear it.
So why couldn't you do that while you was free?
That's all I'm saying. You know, you don't want to get them to go to work every day, but somebody gonna let you go to work and make 18 cents an hour, you know, so you can buy some ramen noodles. Like, come on, fam, just think about it. They got whole prison industries that they are counting on the young black men, and in some cases women, but primarily black men. Like, we can farm y'all labor out. That's why they won't remove out of these state constitutions that language that slavery is legal in the event of incarceration, in terms of you being convicted of a felony. That's why they won't remove it. Lena Taylor worked her butt off trying to get that removed from the state constitution. There should be no situation in which slavery is permissible in this country. And they like, nah. If you go to jail, you go to prison, and we got to pay for your room and board, and pay for people to watch over you and feed you. You belong to us. Yeah, we can use you as slave labor. And so cats literally in jail somewhere, excited because they got a little bit of bump in pay, and they're making $1.20 an hour. But you couldn't work for $7.25 though.
But
you couldn't work for 10. Go ahead.
But
Jay.
The whole crazy thing about it is that they look at going to jail as a prize. Yeah.
Yo, well, it's not the prize though. Once you know, that's some short-term stints though. But that ain't them long-term stints.
No, I get it, but what I'm saying is, like, you see people in the barbershop. They're in the barbershop talking about, hey man, I just did an 8-year bid. Oh man, you did 8 years. Where was you at? Man, I was in Dodge. I was in Green Bay. Man, I did 10 years. Man, I was in Texas. And oh man, such. Oh man, listen.
But man, that's what you're talking about, because you ain't got nothing else to talk about.
But it's intriguing to them.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say I hear it, but you ain't got nothing else to talk about.
I get it.
You can't just say I was here, I was there. That's all you got to talk about is jail.
Yeah.
And so, misery love company.
Yeah.
And everybody want to end up trying to glamorize it. But trust me, when you was doing them 8, it wasn't nothing glamorous about it.
Are you sick with it?
When you was doing that bid, it was nothing. You was trying to figure out how to get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just man, stop making these folks rich.
Yeah. You're right, sir.
You got people raising their families off your stupidity while you incarcerated. Making $70,000 and $80,000 a year with overtime, $100,000 a year, and predominantly rural white communities off black bodies.
Modern day slavery.
Money that's not coming to the city of Milwaukee to improve our schools, our roads, everything else, that we need help with, because that money is going to rural communities that's counting you in their census population numbers. And then instead of money coming to Milwaukee, it goes to those communities. And you're not even walking the streets. You sitting in a damn cage all day. Like, we got to stop playing ourselves. We got to stop playing ourselves. And people don't want to talk about the economics of prison. All of this stuff that Trump and them is doing, and I got to take a break, but all the stuff that Trump and them is doing with this immigration and ICE arrest is private prison owners that's making a grip right now.
Yep. Say it again.
These people get paid crazy money. The studies about prison beds and education that me and Christopher was talking about yesterday, all of that's real. The stuff that we can correct, if we just manage the stuff that we can control, we can stop a whole bunch of nonsense. Yeah. Yeah.
That's making the money.
And so the man, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Let me take a break. Good morning to my folks on Facebook and YouTube. I see y'all tapping in this morning. Got a lot of comments weighing in. Definitely, I see y'all, and I'll try to go back through and read some of these comments. But yeah, we got to understand, man. The sky is the limit. It can be. I didn't come from no wealthy family. My mama worked her butt off. My daddy worked his behind off. We was all right. My granddaddy, with a 3rd grade education, worked for United States Steel in the coal mines, bought some land, used that land to flip and buy other property, and then was able to kind of help set people up. But we didn't have no money. But we didn't have to do none of this to eat. Because in addition to whatever the financial situation is, your mind got to be right. You got to have your head in the game in a way that says we get through this. And we got young people not getting the right messages. But that other stuff that we got going on in our house, to Jermaine's point, it's some stuff we can do way better than this. And it don't require a whole bunch of money. It don't require youth programs. It don't require, because I thought about that. I didn't go to no youth programs when I went to band because I was in the band. So I guess, de facto, that's a youth program. But I went to the band and, I had stuff that my family had organized for me to do. I had stuff I had to do around the house. But it was the mindset of our family that we way better than all of this. All this grimy, that was instilled in us. We way too good for grimy. We ain't robbing nobody. We ain't stealing. We ain't doing no dirt to nobody. We vacation. Because Keith say, no, we summer. We do that. That was the mindset that was instilled in us from day one. You got people out here instilling in their kids a level of hopelessness that's just sad, and you couldn't figure out how to turn your life around, and you passing that mess right down the food chain, and the cycle keeps on going. Yes,
I know you got to go,
yeah,
but you have to look at this too. You have parents that have kids, and you in your car and you playing certain music like Spin That, and you're not playing the clean version of Spin That. You playing the raunchy version of spin that, and it's asking, where's my boosters at? That's robbing these stores. Where's my NIGGs that's spending the money? And they pretty much promote stealing, selling dope, spending money.
Yeah. I mean, like, one of my favorite songs right now is T.I.'s Let 'Em Know.
Yeah.
But it's lyrics and Let 'Em Know. I ain't got no business singing in front of nobody.
Exactly.
You ain't got no business. Excuse me. Even when I'm in the house and I'm playing it in the house, and when it gets to certain part of the lyrics, I'll be like, "Oh, that's just so ratchet."
Yeah.
That's like.
See, this is the type of stuff that is saturating our kids, though, because they in the car listening to this stuff and they spin that, and they singing it. And they don't realize that by you singing it, you are activating that. So over time, it's going to become who you are.
Yeah. I just, when we pulled up, and I'm going to break for real, but when we pulled up, and me and Clark both coming in at the same time, young boys on some scooters right outside the station. And so one brother, he was waiting for the other little dude to get on the back of the scooter, giving him a ride. Pants completely up under his butt cheeks. His blue Hanes or whatever he had on, just completely, I'm talking about behind, just all out. And I'm just like, I just can't understand how y'all don't know, and the people around y'all don't know. None of that is helping you do nothing. It helps you in no way. It's not fashionable. If this is what we have gotten to the point that your draw showing is fashion, we in so much trouble. We're in so much trouble that your claim to fame for your life is you had on some designer panties. It's so sad. And I remember it being in Walmart, and I said to this young brother, I said, "Hey, bro, Can you pull your jeans up? I'm looking at your panties." And he was like, "I ain't got panties on. They look like panties to me." Because they're not supposed to be seen to the public. Girls wear panties. I said, "Well, why you out here showing your booty like that?" Oh, it was real uncomfortable. But it was grown men laughing like, "You crazy." I was like, I'm just saying, "Hey, bro, I ain't trying to see your panties." So let me go to break for real. This was not the show.
Sound like a preacher to me.
This wasn't the show, but man, come on, man. I'll be right back.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Plaisted. I'm the Executive Director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing with my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So very quickly, as we were sitting here discussing State Fair, we look up on the televisions here in the studio and see that this has become national news. The candidates for governor, Tom Tiffany and David Crowley, being interviewed respectively. Fox News nationally in on this conversation, talking about what needs to be done at State Fair, and of course showing the video of all these young black kids, young black people, young black youth, young adults running around, just creating chaos. And just give it to them, just hand it to them, make it easy for folks to come for us. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello, how you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. I think a lot of the downfall is due to the government because they designed this system for us to fail. Now I stay in a residential place, and I have a maintenance buddy of mine had a handful of coins, and he threw the coins on the table in front of his teenage boy. He pulled up a quarter, penny, nickel, and dime, asked this young man which coin were they. He did not know. That tells me that the boy don't know how to count. And then you have these devices, and the people don't use their mind. They have these machines doing it for them. Now you take this device from the boy and ask him to count, he would not know how to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you, bro, for the observation. A lot of basic skills going out the window. And one of the things we used to see when we were in school back in the day, the children that had difficulty reading usually were people disrupting the classrooms because they were trying to shield the fact that they couldn't read or they were struggling, with the subject matter issue. And so it's easier for me to do something to get kicked out of the class or to create a distraction so that people can't figure out that I'm ill-equipped. We see that all throughout life. I don't have X, Y, and Z. And so I create other obstructions so that people don't realize my shortcomings. Let me go to this caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Listen, I just want to say about that fight. I really did have Facebook, but I've seen what I've seen on TV. You young ladies need not think that prison is what you think it is, because I've been there. So if y'all think y'all want to go right ahead. It ain't nothing like you think it is if you out here on these streets. Because when they tell you to go to bed, you go to bed. When they tell you to get up, you get up. If it's at 5 o'clock in the morning, you got to get up to go breakfast or do whatever. You shower on certain days. You can't go shower every day like you can if you out here. Trust me, y'all don't want to go. I've been there and done that. And I'm grateful and thankful I'm out and going to stay out. I made myself that promise not to go back. But I'm glad I got out for what I did. You know what I'm saying? But I may not have got out, but I did. But y'all don't want to go. Please, young ladies, stop and think. Because if y'all mama die or y'all daddy die, y'all may not get out to go to their funeral. Because they don't do that right now today. Your parents, your siblings could write the warden or write whoever. They may say no. They're not going to let you go out because of your record or because what you in prison for. So y'all got to think about that too. If y'all ain't respecting y'all parents, respect them. And think about them if they die while y'all in there. Y'all ain't going to see them. They ain't going to come see you because my mama wouldn't come see me. And I'm glad she was alive when I got out. I'm glad that she was still here when I got out. But y'all got to think about that. What about y'all brothers and sisters that's going to need y'all, that y'all acting a fool around? Show them some different way to live because they watching you. And that ain't cool. So young ladies, please stop.
All right.
Please stop taking from my point of view.
All right. Thank you, sis. Appreciate the call. All right, family. I got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Plaisted. I'm the Executive Director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddle boards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing with my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.
All right, family, I want to make sure that you all are aware, since today is my last day for the week, that on Monday of next week, there is going to be a public listening session regarding the Milwaukee County budget. It is going to be an event that runs from 5 to 7 p.m. over at the Washington Park Senior Center, 4420 West Fleet Street, from 5 to 7 p.m. So the first hour of the event is a resource fair, all the different information services in relationship to Milwaukee County that you may need information about. The second half is going to be the discussion about the county budget. And this is an opportunity for you to come and talk about priorities that you would like to see, the county address. Know that one of the things that the county had been doing, renovations over at the Clinton Rose Center. I was in there on election day. My sorority, Delta Sigma Theta, they manned the polling site there for elections, and the renovations are absolutely beautiful. There is going to be, I think it's happening today. I think I saw somebody might have sent something to me, or it already happened, but they had a grand opening, and so they were showing, they had it already. So they showed, folks, no, look who on the picture, Sister Herrera. But they showed all the folks there for the ribbon cutting, and just a beautiful facility. Like I said, the furniture is gorgeous, all the different activities. Some of the photos that Daryl just sent me, quilt making classes, book reading clubs, somebody there shooting pool. So it is the place to be if you are somebody that looking for interaction, to kick it with other members of the community and of a certain age demographic. The Clinton Rose Senior Center definitely is a beautiful facility with the work and renovations that they've done. The people down there are really cool, work hard. So hopefully you will take an opportunity to attend that. But again, this is what these budget listening sessions are intended to do. Give feedback about what's important to you, those priorities. They've already had one. In fact, I think it was held last night or the night before, because I missed talking about it on the station. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of the second one happening on Monday night, 5 to 7 p.m. over at the Washington Park Senior Center. Let me also do this. I haven't had a chance really to talk about it, but a lot of people were talking. They got just blown out of the water about something local happening here in Milwaukee with a woman who was a senior staff member in the Milwaukee County Clerk of Circuit Court, who has been arrested. Her name is Samatria. I'm not sure how to pronounce her first name. Matthews. This sister, black woman, 54 years old, and she had worked as a senior administrator for the Clerk of Circuit Courts, was charged on August 15th with maintaining a drug trafficking place in her home. And then she also got a modifier, party to a crime, after she was arrested on August 13th. Prosecutors, and I'm taking this story from the Journal Sentinel, prosecutors said that the basement of her home was used to package, store, and manufacture and keep large amounts of cocaine and fentanyl for sale. Her son, Terrion Matthews, only 26 years old, and her husband, Rodney Matthews, also 54, are facing charges, including possession with intent for both cocaine and fentanyl and maintaining a drug trafficking place. During her initial appearance in court 2 days ago, the court commissioner ordered Matthews not to contact her son or husband while her case is active. She had her bail set at $2,500, which the sister has already posted. And I didn't know if that was like low. If you get, it seemed kind of off to me. And from what I understand, this may not be her son, but it's her stepson. But $2,500 just seemed low for drug he said you got a whole little setup in the basement, manufacture, distribution, And I mean, this ain't my area of expertise, but 2,500 seem kind of low.
Yeah, that's super low, because if they are saying all of that, she would be labeled as keeper of a drug house. Because if you manufacturing, if you storing, and you got what they say, cocaine, and now come on, $2,500 bail.
So you think maybe because she get ready to like flip on her husband,
or it could be. Now you can look at it like this: it could be even that they trying to smear her, because if she really didn't have any knowledge of what was going on, because from what I heard, that was her estranged husband, and she said she didn't have any knowledge of what was going on, because I don't think she lived in that house. She just owned it. So if that's the case, and that kind of explains why her bail is at $2,500, if you got drugs in your house and they trying to label you as keeper of a drug house.
So, okay, so we need to establish whether or not she actually lived in that house.
That part, because if she lived in that house and she knew, and they put in that title as keeper of a drug house, your bail is not going to be $2,500.
No, ain't.
It ain't. I mean, it's going to be like $5,000-$10,000 type
More
thing.
than that.
More than that.
More than that.
But $2,500 is like for like a pistol or something, or you got caught with like a 3.5, or you got caught with a 7 or something.
So you got that amount. That should be over 100-something thousand.
Yeah, because now you're now labeled as keeper of a drug house.
Right.
So if you manufacturing, that's keeper of a drug house.
That's true.
And so to your point, because I was looking for it while you were talking, I went and looked at another story, and it said that she owned the house. He was charged with maintaining a drug trafficking place. Terrion, I see his charges. She worked for the county for 30 years. Let's say he had worked for the county and retired in 2022, and then came back to work, currently, making 6 figures. The decision to arrest and prosecute Demetria Matthews is a travesty. Is what her attorney is saying. She is not a criminal or a drug dealer. She is innocent of the charge and will be vindicated. The complaint makes it clear there is no evidence that she had any knowledge of her estranged husband's activities, much less that she was involved in them. Despite that, the DA's office decided to charge her, destroying her career and reputation in the process. So the backstory: court filing said police were doing undercover surveillance of a home owned by her. And I think that distinction, because, did she live in the house or not? So of a home owned by her near 46 in Congress in connection to a narcotics investigation involving her estranged husband and her stepson. They attempted to pull over Terrion Matthews. He fled at a high rate of speed. They lost him. He abandoned the car, is what the DA said. At the time, Terrion Matthews was out of prison on GPS monitoring, and that his last, the car was later found 66 in Ruby. Let me finish it. Officers watching the house, then to see co-defendant Rodney Matthews leave the house. They follow him. He goes and picks up the defendant. They then flee. So he go pick up his son. They fleeing. The second pursuit, high-speed chase, speeds up to 100 miles an hour, eventually ended in a crash at Green Bay and Hampton. Inside the home owned by Demetria Matthews, or Demetria, I hate I'm butchering this woman's name, sorry about that. Police found 3 pounds of fentanyl, cocaine, hydraulic presses to form bricks of drugs, blenders covered in fentanyl residue, digital scales, a handgun, food dye, substance used to cut drugs, sandwich bags, according to the court filings. So, but you don't get the impression that she lived there.
No.
So, like, did she own the house and he just was staying in the house?
Like you said, Jermaine.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you what it is.
They rent the house. They rent
the house. She owns the house. Yeah. But for them to smear her like that, because now you're putting the label of keeper of a drug house. So from all of this surveillance, you surveilling, you see the husband, you see the son, but do you have her going in and out of that house? They never stated that, but they keep saying the house that's owned by.
They keep saying because that's all they keep saying is that she owned the house.
They already knew that was her house. They knew already. They were just trying to see if they could connect something.
But they couldn't. But this is the thing. They never saw her going in and out of the house.
That's what I'm saying.
If you was doing surveillance, you never saw her going in
because
and out of the house.
It would be clear that you know what her connection may have been. So this is interesting to see how this is going to turn out, because this woman's pension is now at risk. Even though, you know, I don't know how OJ Simpson can murder somebody and still keep a pension. Oh, wait, he didn't do it. I know. He got off before Lakeisha started texting me. OJ is innocent. But, you know, this is one of those things that's going to be interesting to kind of see how this plays out. And then think about, what if this woman legitimately, you know, we split up. I had another house. Right. You were able to, you know, stay in that house. And she really didn't know what was going on in his house. And now y'all got her out here like this.
And then you can never really bounce back from this in the corporate world, because that's going to forever be a smear on your name, even though you can beat it.
Because she's 54. She young. If she wanted to still work, you know, even though they said she had retired from Milwaukee County already and then came back.
Yeah.
But, and then, you know, somebody just pointed out, and I saw that in the story, she's never been in trouble before. Folks already done went to see Cap and looking her up and searching, you know, for the information. So you just got to ask the district attorney, but for them to only set that bill at $2,500.
That's why I was like,
that's a red flag to me.
But again, they trying to smear her.
Like, why is, you know, like, that's a red flag for me.
Major.
That she only got $2,500 in bail. Because like I said, I don't do this, but I would expect that amount to be way higher.
As soon as you said it, I'm like, hold up.
$2,500.
And you got all of this in the house?
And it would be dirty if they know that they don't have nothing to really link this woman to this other than she owns the property. Because there's landlords that own properties all day that's used as drug houses.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to see something. And somebody pointed out, and remember when LaFave got in trouble, they didn't go after his pension.
Yep.
You know, so it's also interesting. They said her bail was not originally $2,500. I had heard that.
So
what makes it drop down to $2,500?
What was it originally?
She didn't know.
So some people evidently that know her. It's a lot of folks hitting me up. She is the victim of it looks, I think they were saying kindness with her estranged husband. She is cooperating. We do not know the original bail, if it was reduced. I heard the original bail was like high.
Yeah, because if you saying all this stuff is in the house and they found cutting stuff to cut the dope. Yep. You found the dope, how to cook it, all this stuff is in the house. That's keeper of a drug house.
Yep. And then by her being the landlord, if she ain't been in that house,
they would have had her on surveillance.
Yeah.
But and so you know, so it's a whole bunch of people. Clearly, a lot of people know this sister, respect the sister, like the sister, that are hitting me up like, Michelle, this whole thing is crazy. But that they don't believe that this woman was in any way connected to what this man was doing in this house. And then other folks, believing that they're coming after her because of her position. Yeah. You know, anytime you black and start, you got certain things. How dare you make six figures? Yeah. It's all kinds of stuff that just is out there that we see. But again, how many folks done got in trouble and get to keep their pension? How many folks? Because LaFave, it was all kind of money tied up in what this cat did. And then he leaves and flies to Florida and, you know, do all this foolishness. But your pension didn't get touched. You get to, you know, retire, get your money, get out and run, and then deal with your criminal charges afterwards. But your pension goes unscathed. So the whole article that's in the Journal Sentinel about could she lose her pension, it is hilarious to me because, you know, we have seen a whole lot of stuff in which folks don't lose their pension. But bigger than the loss of the pension, well, not, I think equally as important is if this woman is being wrongfully, hemmed up in this nonsense. Yeah. I own the house, but I didn't know what was going on there. I didn't have nothing to do with it.
Don't go over there and see that man.
Yeah, so my phone is off.
I'm telling you, they trying to smear. They trying to make her look bad.
Yeah, and then some other folks have also said that they believe they're trying to connect it to DC, David Crawley, to the county executive because of the race. So this is your house. It's happening on your watch. You potentially got somebody working for the county, but you got to understand, like the clerk of circuit courts, these are elected positions. Now, her position was not elected. It's an appointed position, but DC don't have nothing to do with this woman in terms of her direct hire or any of that. So, but whatever we can do to throw mud. So let me take a break, but Jesus Christ. This will be messed up if this lady don't have nothing to do with none of this, and they know it. And if they've been surveilling, they've been able to go look at phone records, I'm assuming, to figure out who's doing what, who's coming and going. This lady could lose everything. And y'all know potentially this woman don't have nothing to do with this. $2,500 is a tale. It's a tale. Let me take a break. I'll be right back.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Playstead. I'm the executive director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing for my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.
Okay, so while we were in the break, I went to CCAP because, we're speculating because we're trying to figure it out. And because the question when they talk about this being an estranged husband, was this woman living in a house different than the husband and the stepson? On the address portion of CCAP, it lists her address as the same address that the drug bust happened at. So if she has a different address, if she wasn't staying in that house, it doesn't reflect that on CCAP. Okay. So that's one thing, because before we go too far out on the limb to establish, did her and this guy live in the same house? Because now you're going to have a problem if y'all lived in the same house, because most people wash their dryers in the basement. and you can smell what the rock is cooking. You know,
Or who's cooking the rock.
yeah, who's cooking the rock? Yeah, because I have walked into a house where crack was being cooked on the stove, and it smelled like rotten eggs. It's the worst smell I ever smelled in my life. And you know, immediately I knew something was wrong in this house. So I can't discern right now whether or not she actually was living in that house or not. So that's right now an open question. Other information on there when they talked about the bail and that, you know, we're looking at why. Somebody said one article says she shared a bedroom. Hold on. With the husband. See,
it's getting deeper and deeper.
See,
They would have been got.
You know, I said,
they statement that they got surveillance, right?
Yeah, I mean,
do they got her on videotape, camera, anything going in and out of the house?
Well, like I said, I don't need to do all of that if you live there.
No, but I'm saying, but if I live there, it'll still be video of me going in and out of the house.
Yeah, but that's all I'm saying is I'm trying to figure out. Other people they like, yep, her driver's license still at the house. People like y'all some sleuths, boy.
Internet detectives.
Yeah, and then people trying to tire to Anna Hodges, who was elected to the circuit court, you know, because you hire, you know, you bring people through, you know, you can work with. So, but this ain't no reflection on Anna. I don't know what's going on in your damn house. Like, you know, but anytime black folks, and see, let's be clear, a lot of them judges didn't want Anna Hodges to be the clerk of circuit courts. When Anna Hodges ran the first time, it was judges actively working to keep this biracial sister. I think Anna identifies as black, but, you know, I don't know exactly what her race is or ethnicity is, but they worked hard to keep Anna Hodges from getting elected to clerk of circuit court. They did not want her. And she ran and she got out here and did doors and got in these streets. And she did her thing. And so, and somebody just pointed out, and I had forgot about it, Anna is on the ballot right now. She's up for re-election in November. And so, yeah, there were some Milwaukee County judges that would have been happy to see some mess jump off involving Anna Hodges. But if I got hemmed up on everybody that I know that has gotten in trouble, boy, I couldn't even breathe out here. You know, I couldn't breathe because I don't discriminate in who I know. I believe you need to know all kinds of people. I do. I don't need to know your business. I'm not asking them kind of questions. Now, you can't do nothing shady around me. I'm not gonna tolerate that. I'm not gonna be in on none of your foolishness. But I know people that I like dap up. I see, you know, I break bread with, and I'm like, nah, you questionable. But that ain't got nothing to do with me. Stay over there with that foolishness. I just think it's going to be interesting to figure out that bail piece, because like in they said cash bond set on August 18th. Remaining cash bail on deposit shall be returned to the person who posted it. So originally there was a different amount. And then they lowered the bail amount and said they're going to return the money to the person who posted it. Well, who posted it? And how much was it? So, I got questions, yo. I got questions. But if this woman is not tied up in this, I hope that this, you know, she's able to clear her name and come through this okay. But again, we also know Black folks get handled way differently in these situations than other folks. They just do. Whether it's, you know, I can go back and list the list of names of Black people that have been elected officials or Black people that worked for city government who had charges leveled, got convicted of those things, and they ended up getting jail time, fines, and penalties. And other folks, you know, you still trying to figure out what happened to their case. You still trying to understand what happened to their case. So let me see. I'm trying to figure out what people said. Somebody said, don't forget George Christensen. He hates Anna. See, he hates Anna. Somebody talking about the rumor is Anna bailed her out. We don't know that to be true. And I can't imagine Anna would do that, because I'm not putting myself in that position, and I'm on the ballot running for office. So I don't believe that.
That's right.
But it does not list who bailed her out. And it does not, when they talk about the money going to be given back. So just so y'all know, all of this is happening and brewing down at the county courthouse. And be astute about the willingness of people to try to connect this to either candidates on the ballot, make this other people's issue. This don't have nothing to do. Somebody said no sound on YouTube. But let's not make this have anything to do with anybody else. This is this woman's situation and her family situation. It don't have nothing to do with Anna Hodges. It has nothing to do with David Crawley. And we need to be clear about that. Do I have a phone call? I'm going to take the call and then I'm going to go to break. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey.
Hey.
This is Yusef. How you doing?
Hi.
I just want to say that I had text you that, the purpose of bail is to ensure that someone returns to court. The seriousness of the crime is considered, but in my opinion, a $2,500 bond is reasonable, especially since I don't see the young lady having any other convictions on CCAP. Keeper of a drug house is a Class I felony. It carries a maximum of 3.5 years in prison of initial confinement and extended supervision, meaning the maximum initial confinement is only 2 years and an additional up to 1.5 years on extended supervision with a $10,000 fine. I believe that this lady is not being charged with the actual drugs, like her son's bond is $75,000, because she wasn't involved in the actual activity. So this is actually something they're going after her to try to smear her name. Yeah. And as far as her pension is concerned, I see that she's been suspended from her job, but her job has nothing to do with the crime being committed. So I don't think she will lose her pension because they're not related. Now, if she would have been caught stealing from the county or something like that, that may be a factor. But I don't think.
And not to mention, like, she had already retired, been out of the workforce, and then come back and work. So that pension, because she had gotten like the that backdrop money. Right. So all of that, like that's like a closed situation. I don't understand how they would try to go after the pension because she had already retired and then came back to work. But
exactly.
Yeah.
But thank you for letting me share it, Michelle.
All right. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing, some other stuff too, that bail, it wasn't a whole lot higher than the $2,500. I'm hearing $5,000 was original bail amount, and that it got dropped to $2,500. I was looking around for it on CCAP. We'll look a couple other places and figure out what's going on. But I just really hope, if the district attorney's office is dragging this lady like this, and they know, like, there's nothing that supports that this woman was a part of this, that this woman knew anything about it, then they out of order. They the hell out of order. If all of this washes through and it is revealed that this woman legitimately didn't know anything about any of this, because there are landlords who have people dealing drugs out of their houses every day. The fact that I'm married to somebody, and they're doing this, but if you've been sitting on this house and you've been watching this house and you got access to all kinds of information, you should be able to figure out if this woman may be involved or not before we get to this point. So I just wanted to bring it up. I got to take a break. Caller, I see you. I'm going to get to you. But somebody said, oh, no, you're okay. I saw something about Dick Tracy in the Dakota ring. But yeah, this is crazy. And to the last caller's point, when I looked at what the potential jail time or fine, 3.5 years up to $10,000. Which again, you don't sound like the drug dealer if all you looking at is 3.5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. So somebody said 5,000 seems to be a reasonable maximum for property nuisance codes. No one is speaking of the drugs in the black neighborhood found. Okay, I'm looking. All right, let me take a break. I'll be right back, y'all. Jesus Christ.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Plaisted. I'm the executive director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing with my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So let me catch this caller before I welcome. I got guests in the studio, and we close out this topic. But yeah, it's a lot to be said and learned about this sister situation. But let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, so how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
Kathy is muffled.
Okay, hold on. Let me take the speaker off.
All right.
That young lady that was a clerk of courts, a deputy director, she worked here since she was about 19, 20 years old, worked her way up, okay?
Right.
Okay, and then everybody said it was a strange husband. You made $96,000 a year. You have my sister invested in any kind of property, any kind of investment. Where did you live? They've been surveilling that place for quite a while. They know who lived there, who got her, and who was estranged, okay? When they went to the house, where she said, all I want to ask, was she there at 2 in the morning or whatever time? Yeah, she was here. So people still stop saying this and this. You got to watch it like that, okay? But at the end of the day, you talk about the kids that stay fair. It's no better than a 50-some-year-old woman and her husband and a kid making drugs, okay? They learn that from home. I'm not trying to be funny. If you knew what was going on, you ignored it, should have got you another place, okay? So don't be a fool out here and talk about them kids that stay fair when you see what's going on right here with grown people, okay? That comes from home. And at one point, a kid at State Fair, 21, 22 years old, 18 years old, their parents ain't that old. And they learned that from them. Their mouths are loud and big, but I'd rather have a fight at State Fair and get a little misdemeanor than to go down here making crack and cocaine and killing our community out here. All right, that didn't make any sense at all. So where did the person live? And you know that if somebody said, well, I didn't know that was going on in my home. I didn't know that Michelle went into the bank to rob it. While I'm sitting out in the getaway car, I didn't know that was going to happen. You know what? Guilt by association and party to a crime. So stop making up stuff and saying they did this and they did that, okay? You ought to know better than what you're doing, okay? Unless you're in on it. You want to make enough money? And if he wasn't working...
Okay, Kathy, I got a guess. So I think we got the general gist of what it is you're talking about.
Okay.
I can't do the response right now, but thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. All right, family. So Thursday is my early day to end. I want to make sure that we have ample time to have this discussion. Pleased today to welcome, I think for the first time, some sisters to the studio, Natalie, Hayden, and Laverne Badger. Hello, ladies. How y'all doing this morning? Good. This is crazy. The whole cycle of conversation we have been on this morning, talking about our community, work that we got to do, issues that we need to address. And this conversation literally dovetails exactly everything that we've kind of been hitting on this morning, because we know that the way our community shows up when things are not working right is cyclical. A lot of times it starts at home, and then how that translates out into the community or transfers in the way folks interact with one another, the relationships that we have or lack thereof. So let me welcome you all. Laverne, let me start with you. Tell folks a little bit about, and I need that shirt, but tell folks a little bit about who you are, the organization, and the work that you do.
So I'm Laverne Badger.
And do me a favor, bring the mic up just a little bit for me. Okay.
So I'm Laverne Badger, and I am one of the co-founders of Exposed Inc. We have been in existence for almost 10 years now. We started off as a podcast talking about life after domestic abuse. I was in an abusive relationship as a teenager, started as a teenager for 13 years. And now I'm married to the fabulous Mr. Richard Badger. But
family. Yeah, we black, we go.
So
yes.
But that what happened was my trauma was turned into passion, and I met Natalie, and Natalie and I created Exposed Inc. And now we are we locked in. And I have turned my passion into purpose on bringing awareness and education to domestic abuse and healthy and unhealthy relationships, romantic and platonic.
Natalie, let's get you in on the conversation. So you guys link up. How do you come to this, though?
How do we come to this? I'm going to be fully transparent. I met Laverne while I was in shelter at Sojourner Family Peace Center. I had just made a decision that would forever impact me, but in such a way that I knew someone's destiny was locked up in what I needed to be honest about, and it wasn't easy. So Laverne was in the formative stages of having conversations, and she was at Sojourner. I was there, and I was introduced and, in a way to say, hey, go and get this, be up under this type of support and information. And I was drawn to Laverne. Laverne initially was not interested, and I did not know. It was a hard no for her initially. Yes. Until it wasn't. But, at that moment, we knew that we were connected in such a way that we didn't know that it would be this today, but just starting with a conversation, being transparent about our experiences could help someone else. And that's really where it started. It wasn't about putting anyone out there to be, whatever, but it was about experience, what we experience and how we can heal through that. And that has been a bit of our journey.
So one of the things, Laverne, in your opening remarks, you talk about that this began in your, when you were a teenager.
Absolutely.
At one time, we didn't think about domestic violence situations involving young relationships. Yep. And then you even mentioned the terminology platonic. So this is not necessarily always about a love relationship, a personal relationship in that way, romantic relationship, that this can also just be the way I engage with a friend,
absolutely,
with a family member, with someone, that is close to me. But we've seen a tide shift, though. We've seen younger, women, younger aged individuals reporting domestic violence. And so then you begin to get kind of nervous, so what's going on in our households? Because so many people, we did a survey when I was with African World Festival. We talked about women that had either been sexually abused or had experienced domestic violence. I brought 400 survey applications. 398 were completed. 398 said yes.
Wow. Wow. Not surprised. Not surprised at all.
So when you look at, as a part of the discussion, the healing, do we address what we think is changing and happening, that we're seeing this at such a younger age? Or has it always been there? We just didn't know what to call it. Folks didn't talk about it. What's your experience, Laverne?
For me, I think it was that we weren't just talking about it, right? I think that it is growing. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't realize that there were other teenagers in an abusive relationship, because what I didn't see a lot, but what I did see, it was always older white women that were married or women that were married. So I didn't associate what I was going through as being in a domestic violence relationship. So of course I wasn't checking those boxes and then I wasn't checking boxes that was on my mental emotional abuse, right? People are usually checking those boxes based on physical abuse. So I think the numbers are going up because people are talking more, they're expressing more, have expanded to knowing what the true definition is of an abusive relationship, and it does not single out just physical abuse, right? We know it's the financial abuse. We know that it's mental and emotional abuse. We know that it's now what we're talking about is social media abuse, right? So there's a way to stalk and track people on a way that we didn't used to be able to track people, so now people are checking different boxes, so those numbers are continuing to increase. But I don't know that it was just back then in 86, 85, 84, those years when it started for me, that I just didn't know what to do with that information. No one was capturing that information, if that makes sense.
It does. I pulled up some data. An estimated 10 million adults face abuse from a partner. They said in the United States, on average, every 20 minutes, someone is experiencing some form of abuse. More than 1 in 3 women and nearly 1 in 4 men experience physical violence, sexual abuse, or stalking by an intimate partner. So, Natalie, understanding that this is prevalent now, and there are folks that still don't know how to deal with this and talk about it. How is the organization and the work you all are doing together helping to kind of shed some light, give folks some needed assistance, help, and resources? And, folks that listen to my show on a regular basis, they know I've talked about the fact that I grew up in a house with domestic violence. My mother married my stepfather, and Friday through Sunday, it was hell in our house. Monday, Sunday night, it chilled about 8 o'clock because he had to get up and go to work on Monday. And Monday until Friday, we was cool. But you already knew, you dreaded when Friday was getting ready to roll around. So how are you raising awareness and getting, folks to get the help that they need?
Our 3 pillars is prevention, awareness, and education. And Laverne and I knew from the start that there were enough agencies out here to capture those that are coming in with these needed bases, like how we were received, where we needed immediate support. We wanted to get down the stream and prevent, so we're in our schools. And when we go to our schools, meaning we go and we have conversations with young people, we share with them about healthy and unhealthy relationships, because that was in those formative years when you're young and you see these relationships in your household. Because when you do the work, I had to sit with myself and say, where did this start? This is not just something that I saw on TV, or what did I see in my household? What did I see my aunt go through? What did I see my grandmother go through? And we didn't have terminology for it. We didn't have language for it, but we saw it. And when I identified and said, that is not healthy, so I now reflect or attract, or I'm existing in the way that I saw that was modeled before me. Sometimes we just don't know. So there were things that we had to unlearn. We're there to help our young people identify that what is going on in your household may not always be healthy. It's not that you don't love your family, but there are some very toxic things that are going on, and you can unlearn that. You can do relationships differently. You can feel better about yourself and not say, well, because my mom did this to me, maybe that was all she knew. Like, people are doing their best, but you get to put that behind you. You get to learn something different. So it's personal. You have to identify within yourself that I may have not shown up in the best way in this romantic relationship, this personal relationship. The relationship with myself is most important. How do I talk to myself? So when we get in the schools, we have these conversations, and we start with, how you started is not necessarily how you have to finish.
Oh yeah,
you get to finish strong. You get to finish. You get to talk to yourself differently. If people in your family talk a certain type of way, you don't have to take ownership of that.
Right. And I tell people treat you how you let them treat you.
That's right.
You learn that stuff. you know.
But that's a muscle you have to practice because you don't know that. You don't know that. And did I even have boundaries? There were so many things that were unveiled to me when I was doing this work. Like, dang, I didn't have boundaries. It was started in my relationship, but now let me look at everything and see what I didn't have boundaries around.
I accept in personal friendships, relationships,
in the workplace.
Workplace people be like, you know, you let folks run all over you.
No,
all that kind of stuff. You begin to kind of put in perspective,
which is why we have tapped into platonic, healthy and unhealthy relationships. The rules are the same.
They stay the same.
The rules are the same. Am I supposed to accept disrespect in either? Should I have boundaries set for either?
Right.
Should I remove myself from something that's
family?
Not good? It don't matter.
It don't matter.
It does not matter if I'm married to you, sleeping with you, or if we just high school friends, or if you my cousin. My first cousin, because you know, first cousins is the closest cousins. Like, even if you my first cousin, like, no, if you are if I'm being exposed and experiencing some of these toxic traits and behaviors from other people, I don't care what it is and who it is. Here's our basic rules.
So let me do this because I really shouldn't have scheduled this interview for Thursday because this is the day that I end early. Shut up, Jermaine. Jermaine, like, come on now.
We'll come back.
We'll come back.
It's good.
So what I want to do, because I do think that this is such an important conversation, not just to have you come back, but to see if we could actually create something on a regular basis, because these are conversations we've touched on them here and there. The phones usually light up, go crazy when we talk about it from both men and women. But as we are beginning to figure out how anger and aggression shows up as Stay Fair and in our communities, that internal work that has to happen. I will end here though. When we did the human trafficking, when we did the initial work with that survey, at the gathering, that's where we first did the survey. From that, we formed the Human Trafficking Task Force of Greater Milwaukee. Martha Love, myself, Dana World Patterson comes to the table. I can't think of my other girl with the locks right now, but I could see her face because she was one of the first people that, before Dana stepped into the role, I almost said her name. But anyway, you know, we began to form this organization and doing this work. We put up a lot of the seed money ourselves to get things done, but you can't do the work without having ways to be able to fund the work. You guys do an annual run. We want to put it on people's radar early. So please tell people about that before we get out of here this morning.
Yeah, so quickly, early registration ends on September 5th. So right now, of course, you know, registration is open. I just came into the station and I saw our bus ad just drive by.
Wonderful.
So, you know, so I was like, oh, perfect. But it's on the website. You can
tell people
register.
What it's called.
It's called the hashtag Let Them Live Domestic Violence 5K. This is our 7th consecutive year at Veterans Park.
We are the longest domestic violence.
Go ahead,
walk. I'm proud of that. That we are the longest, and it's just the two of us. We do it with some of our partners, but this was just an idea and a dream, right? 9 years ago. But we are the longest consecutive 5K walk, domestic violence walk in Wisconsin. Now, if you challenge me, come on, call me. But I looked it up. And so, yes. So we are very proud of that. Sorry to interrupt.
So I didn't realize registration was being cut off so soon. So September.
Early bird.
I was about to get nervous.
No, early.
Because I'm signing him up to walk and we go walk.
Get a team.
Get a team. We need to have the
and represent.
Out there.
Can I ride a scooter?
Absolutely.
I'm coming.
Anyway, you know what? We have a lot of the first responders that touch domestic violence in various ways that will be there. The blood center. I've donated blood and had no idea that gunshot victims from domestic violence needs blood. So we have a mobile Versity blood truck that will be there. If you cannot walk or run, there's some way that you can contribute to this work. We have firefighters that will be there. The rig will be there. MPD, the cadets will be there, because we were offered an opportunity to come and talk to recruits about domestic violence. So they'll be walking with us. It'll be the city out there walking with us.
So let me do this, because I don't want it to be rushed. We will create time and space for you guys to come back.
Okay.
We'll do it on a Monday or a Wednesday when I go the full at the time, or get you in like at 8 o'clock, something early, so that we can have this conversation and let people know how they can be engaged. I think as we're talking about how we end some of the stuff that we see or we begin to address it,
Yes.
this is definitely one of the ways that we do it. Because healthy adults create healthy children.
Absolutely.
And healthy relationships create healthy families. So for folks that want to know how to get in touch with you, Laverne, how do they get in touch with the org?
Our email address is exposeddva@gmail.com. And again, our website is exposethepodcast.com. So everything is on our website. So if you go over to our website, you will see everything, how to get in contact with us and everything. We're on all our socials, Instagram, Facebook. You can find us anywhere. And shout out to our D9, my D9 sister, right? So
that's right.
That.
Sigma Gamma Rho in the building.
Yeah.
So look, let me say this again. I hate that the interview is, and it has felt rushed. It was important though to begin and start the conversation.
Absolutely.
We lay the foundation. We'll keep going. So let me do this. I'm gonna end the show. You all be safe this weekend. We'll get these sisters back in here to continue. Ladies, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
And folks, I'll talk to y'all next week. Bruhs, appreciate y'all. Peace.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Plaisted. I'm the executive director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing with my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.